side before
Come
he
on.
comes, I just want to zhuzh this thing up a little bit. One of the only constants that everyone agrees on in Ecomm, there are only a few things. Okay, it's like death, taxes, and like rising ad costs. But another one is that Foxwell Founders is incredible. I hear it
Boom.
all the time, all of the time. Okay, this
Oof.
guy, he is an OG in
Yep.
D2C paid advertising. He's worked with like bigger names than you even thought existed,
Ooh.
basically. Okay.
Ooh.
And now, in addition to Foxwell Digital, they have this 500 plus person community of founders, brand side, agency side, et cetera, that the internet cannot help but rave about. Foxwell recently released the 2026 State of Agencies report. We got to bring him in here and talk about it. Everyone, welcome to the show, Andrew Foxwell. Andrew, get in here.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
We are on here. I love it. I love the energy of this. I am stoked. We are on the show. We are talking about e-commerce. We're talking about marketing surveys. What a build-up, too.
Yeah, baby.
Oh,
You know, hey, it was only a matter of time before we got
it's funny. Here's a funny note. I have a friend who does kayak tours. I live in Santa Barbara, California. I have a friend who does kayak tours in the Channel Islands, which are a national park outside.
Beautiful.
And he texted me this morning. He goes, yesterday, all day, I gave a kayak tour to Matthew McConaughey.
Did he really?
And I was like, all right. Obviously, that's what I expected. But that's what he's doing. So I was like, what? So I was trying to bring that energy in.
Yeah, you brought it,
very
brother.
cool energy.
Yeah.
Cool
Here we are.
Man, I am so glad that you are here, and I have known you from afar for some time, but this is the first time for us to officially interact, which I'm very happy that it is taking place now. Man, you released the State of Agencies report, which I really appreciate. I don't know why, Andrew, but it does happen. There's kind of this like aura about, agencies. They're like the dark side of the force, they're kind of on the dark side of everything that we do. But I appreciate, man. I appreciate, you bringing this to light and also being an advocate in a good way for agencies. And the biggest thing that stood out to me, just from first blush, is the number one challenge right now for agencies, that being pipeline lead flow. And the number one way for people to still get leads is word of mouth. It's just positive word of mouth. And my wonder when I saw that, I feel like this is the always problem. I feel like this is always the case. And why has AI like not made this a no-brainer now, where everybody can have all the leads? Just give me your perspective on that still being the number one challenge.
I mean, I think what happens is a lot of these agency owners come in and they have built a business on referrals, and everybody likes that, and they have let's say some couple of people that then keep referring them to their friends, and then they look at it and they have 3-4 employees or 5 employees. Or a guy I talked to yesterday, I do a lot of agency coaching as well with members. He has 14 employees looking to grow, right? And he's like, I need a system. And so his number one issue is lead flow, because he needs to, he wants to bring on, largely stateside talent, which is great. He lives in Texas and he wants to grow this thing.
Yeah.
And everybody has it. I mean, it's like you need to have this constant lead flow. And if you look at those people that, let's say, aren't in that percentage of people that, lead flow is number one issue, what's the difference between them? Predominantly, it's that there's some sort of lead connection. They have a connection into some holding company or a private equity that has a whole, you know what I mean? Like, or there's a connection into somebody that has those. That's like their person that like funnels everything towards them.
I see.
It's rare that you meet an agency that says, at least in the Foxwell Founders, because we don't have a lot of people that do, it's funny enough, right? A lot of people that do ads on their own for their agency. A lot of our folks are doing great work, and the referrals keep coming, and then they want to grow, and they've got to spool up a system. And that's done via a lot of ways. But it's rare that you'll have someone that'll be in the Foxwell Founders and will be doing a paid ads funnel, for example, right? If you went into another community, like there's other communities out there for agency owners, common that their biggest thing is they're going to teach you how to run lead ads, funnels, and stuff like that. That's not our people necessarily. So I think ours probably skews high in terms of lead flow being the issue. Because it's so many of these good people doing good work around the world. I mean, we represent 30 countries. We have members in 30 countries.
Crazy.
It's like they're doing good work around the world, and then they're like, oh yeah, I want to grow. Like, how do I grow this? And then they got to build a system. And we typically lean away from more of the paid stuff, which isn't bad. It can be good-ish, but it doesn't necessarily build as much of a long-term result for agencies that are of the ethos of the people that are the Foxwell founders.
Wow. What do people do, Andrew? I mean, if we're leaning away from paid ads and deal flow, pipeline is the problem, what do we do?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at people that are successful that haven't done paid ad funnel type stuff, predominantly what they're doing is, let's talk about in the last year, they're doing a lot of things with content marketing. So, they themselves are out there, they're building great content that's useful to people. I have one guy that, they have, I don't even know how many people he work for him now, but let's say it's over 50. It's a lot of people. And, before he paid himself a salary, he hired 3 marketing people to be building content to put out, right? And they're putting out white papers, they're putting out content, they're putting out, videos, they're doing a podcast, they're doing a lot of that.
Incredible.
They're bringing in prospective clients to interview, and then they're talking to people. I always tell the story, but I had this guy one time I knew, and he was an expert on innovation. And it was interesting. Like, he would be paid like $20,000 to go to IBM and talk about innovation, how they innovate in the department. And I asked him one time on a bike ride, I said, how do you stay on top of this? And he goes, oh, I just talk to like 10 people a week that do innovation.
All right. All right.
So like, this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, you're going to get leads. It's like, just bring on people that are doing the work, talk to them, get ideas from them, and then have this frictionless flywheel in terms of content. And you go out there and then you build authority. And that's what people are looking for ultimately. And I think a lot of, there is a lot of reason that agencies have a bad rap, because there's a lot of shitty people out there that, the model was built in certain ways that people got screwed, and rightfully so, so it's like, which isn't cool that happened. Like, rightfully so that education exists. So you have to go and, be conscious of that. And I think building authority and building content and going on and saying, look, this is what I do, this is who I am, is a big part of it. And then I think it's also, if you have an agency owner, I swear at the beginning of every agency owner call that I do, that's a coaching call, I always talk about The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, which I'm sure you guys have read. If you've never read this book, like, this is like a massive unlock for you, because all you have to do is you got to basically find this guy I talked to yesterday. I was coaching. He's building his agency in the outdoor space. Okay. So like, in the outdoor space in digital, there's like 10, I'm sure that, I don't even know, I'm guessing there's like 10 people. I mean, I used to run the paid ads for Sims, the fly fishing company, but there's like 10 people that's got to be important that like put out content on us. So you just need to like know those 10 people. And if it's worth it to you, or you can do it, like, fly to all 10 of them and take them out to lunch. Like, why not?
Why not?
Like, I mean, and like, put out some good content and be like, look, like, I'd love to take you to lunch. Like, nobody does that. People are always like, can I get on a Zoom meeting? Like, no, fuck a Zoom meeting. You don't need to get on a Zoom meeting. Like, show up at their door and be like,
get on a plane.
Like, I'm just saying, if you're like, this guy's single, no kids. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And so he was talking about starting a podcast. I was like, why don't you start a podcast and take all these people in the outdoor industry and put them in the woods and start a podcast?
Yeah.
Like, it'd be sick. So he has an opportunity. He can do that. They have a video production arm of his agency. So the reason I say this is I think you can get creative, and you can address it that way, and then you start to get on their radar. And there's these tipping points, and then there's people everybody look to in our industry. We know there's like Cody Plofker is one of these people. He has been for a long time. There's Connor. There's the Connors. There's Sean. There's Dave Herman. Like, there's these people that you should talk to and you should know, and you just got to be on their radar. And one of the ways you get on the radar is producing good content that's meaningful and useful, so that they pay attention and can look at it moving forward.
Dig it.
Wow, Andrew, I think. I say this in the most, respectful way possible. You are one of the most well-renowned people in our space. I have never heard a bad thing said about you ever. I've only heard amazing things said about you.
Wow, I appreciate that.
And so I keep looking under rocks, and it's like, Andrew's really great. And it's like, I look under this rock, it's like, Andrew's amazing. Man. You should talk to him. And so I don't know what you're doing over there, but it's phenomenal. I'd love to just dive in a little bit. So you have the content piece of this. Does the channel matter a ton? And does the channel matter specifically for the agency type? How are you thinking about all of these channels moving forward? Obviously, everybody has LinkedIn, Twitter, there's newsletters. How are you thinking about it from, okay, amazing, we have some really awesome content. What's the distribution method?
Yeah, so I appreciate. I can answer that, and let me comment on the first thing, which is about the reputation thing, which I appreciate very much because it's something that I really have gone and thought about a lot in my life, which is a consistency. And when I had a kid, my daughter's now 6, but I grew up, I'm the third kid in my family, and I grew up and I got by being a chameleon everywhere, where I would adapt who I was to that person. Okay. And when I had the kid, I was like, this isn't going to work. Like, and so now I've really worked on the consistency of being like just being who I am and leading with kindness as much as I possibly can, and trying to be the same person to everybody. Right.
Yeah.
And that is crazy what the compounding returns of that are.
Wow.
And so that's just one thing that I'll say, which is I think reputation to me is really important because there's so much that you need to be able to trust people in any business.
Sure.
And in our space, especially the internet, if people are like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I've really worked on. And another thing that I used to be a press secretary in Congress. And one thing that my boss said to me at the time, who was a communications director, he said, everything you print or say or do, you have to understand could be on the front page of the newspaper.
Wow.
And I think about that a lot. And I think about that when I'm putting my kid to bed, or, what I'm saying to my wife or what I'm saying to a buddy, like, just trying to be consistent and trying to be kind and be inquisitive. And so I appreciate that because that's something that's really important to me. And I really try to take care of people and make sure that they are resourced because we're all like out here giving it our best. So in terms of the channel, I think obviously depends like where people are
Sure.
and what the people are that you're trying to get in front of. This guy I was talking about, the outdoor guy, his outdoor marketers live a lot on YouTube because the long form content is masked in the outdoor space. And that's really the idea. If you're a marketer in outdoor, if you like are a marketing person at Patagonia, right? Like you've been producing long form documentaries about ultra runners. And by the way, they're wearing Patagonia. Like that's been the marketing strategy. So YouTube's massive for them. So he's doing a lot with YouTube. And so I think it depends,
Makes sense.
of like where you want to get, like how you want to go for it. If I were to go prescriptively across and say agency owners, you're trying to get in front of like e-commerce brands and you're trying to build content that gets in front of e-commerce brands. I think one is like you have to have, there's got to be some angle to it. It can't just be like another agency newsletter. And so, you look at, there's this guy, Will Sartorius, who's a member of the Foxwell founders. He's doing a ton with AI, and Will's AI newsletter is mentally good, by the way, if you're not on it. And, Will has a company called Selfmade, which makes creative and does a lot of other stuff. But that newsletter is so good because it's niche and it's like making creative for performance marketers with AI and tools you need to be able to try. You know what I'm saying?
All
Like,
right.
it's like total riches in the niches type thing. So the more that you can get that, the better off you're going to be. So like newsletters can be useful if they're that way. Right. And social channels can be useful. It depends. I mean, it just depends on where people are. Predominantly agency owners try to go, try to go on a lot of channels, I think sometimes. And I think really what you need to do is understand like just where the core customer is hanging out, like where the e-com folks, where the e-com brand owners are that are there. I mean, like a lot of people try to go on supplements. So, this friend of mine, he's been doing a ton with GLP-1 brands, and that's a very specific niche, right? And you have to get good at that as agency side. And he found out that there was basically these mini conferences that were taking place for these GLP-1 brands that he didn't even know about once he got into it. And so he started to sponsor stuff. He started to get in front of them. He's speaking, and now it's blown up, and now it's like their specialty. So it's like there's a place or there's like a text chain that these people kind of like communicate through, right? And then you just kind of like find one and then you find out. Like one of my best friends is Zach Stuck. By the way, congratulations on Homestead.
Congrats to Zach.
But Zach.
Huge.
So Zach's coming to Santa Barbara, bringing his family next week, and I'm excited to spend the week with him. But for him, he's got these guys that are guys and gals that are were agency owners, many of them, or like are in this, like they're performance marketers, and then like, oh, now they have brands, and so there's like this whole group chat that they're all on. It's like, okay, so how do you get into that? How do you get like one person? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the things you kind of got to develop and think about. Hopefully that answers your question.
Smart.
It's different for everyone.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
One thing from the report that stuck out to me, Andrew, was primary reason for clients leaving. And number one here inside from what I saw, I think it's a 29%. Number one was people bringing things in the house, hiring persons to replace. Number one, that's shocking to me because many times when I've seen that happen, it does not go very well. That's man, maybe I'm biased. Maybe I've got a certain sample size that isn't fair and appropriate. But number two, the reason for bad performance, leaving for bad performance, was way down there, much lower than I expected. Only like 16-ish%.
Yeah.
That is like the common trope, is like people cannot find, I just need an agency to do good for me. Surely one exists. I've gone through 5. Why can't I find anybody that does well? I mean, were those results shocking for you? They were surprising for me.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, yes and no, but a lot of it was surprising, honestly. I think the one is, I think, again, because the Foxwell founders are a really great group of advertisers generally, and 60% of our group, about 65% is agencies and agency employees, and then the rest is all people in-house at brands or brand owners. Okay, and so there definitely is a trend of insourcing and in-housing, and I think that that's true, and people believe that they can have a better person, that's dedicated to it. And they don't like that if an agency is working on it, there could be other things that person is doing.
Yeah.
And they look at the agency fees as they start to scale, and, they say, yeah, look, so in terms of like, has it been successful? It very much depends on what you're looking at. I think that many times brand owners that try to insource or in-house, we'll just call it in-housing instead of, so I don't say both things. They have the wrong playbook or expectation around what it takes to keep that person resourced so they can grow and do what's necessary in the accounts. Yeah. So they almost build an insular world around them and it should be the inverse. It should be like this person, if they're in-house, if they're a Connor Rolane, for example, has to be constantly thinking and testing and iterating. And like, that's a huge part of the job, because to do this well, that's the competitive advantage of an agency. And what happens when they bring it in-house is it becomes much smaller. So yeah, I think that's something to say, and it is surprising. And I don't think it's wrong. I mean, I think brands can do this well. It's just a matter of like how they're resourcing the team and how they're taking care of their people, to understand that to do this well, you have to first understand nothing, Jon Snow. Like, you have to freaking you gotta just keep on it, because that's a huge part of it. And I think a lot of times when people go in-house as a growth director, they say, I'm the growth director now. You don't understand. Here I go. Look at me. Da-da-da-da. And it's like, that's fine. And I think taking ownership and leadership is big, but it's also understanding that there has to be a constant innovation to keep this stuff right. Because and that's why a lot of people that will come into the founders that are growth directors or whatever, or brand owners, and they'll say, oh yeah, I want to resource my person this way. So yeah. Anyway.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So, I mean, taking leads aside, say, agency owner comes to you, hey, we got a great book of business, we're rocking and rolling. And he's saying, what is the number one thing I should be focused on in 2026? If you could only give me one thing, we got a great book of business, we got some great clients, we're rocking and rolling, we got a good agency, we got, 3, 5, maybe 8 employees that we're cruising right along. What should I be focusing on as the agency owner myself?
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is creative systems. Right. So that's I would say that's the first thing without thinking about it too much. Another thing that comes to mind is like profitability, right? And making sure that you really know your business. People try to hire in agencies too often to like have, because it's growing, and so they hire and then they're like, wait, I'm not making that much money. So there isn't a lot of focus on that, as there is in any business. But let's talk about creative systems. Creative systems are really interesting because creative is obviously the way that you unlock growth in so much of D2C world now. So the more that you can understand and build the creative systems within your agency, and give people the freedom to think creatively and also, unlock new personas for clients, that's going to be a massive lift for you. That's going to allow you to unlock performance for clients. A coaching client that I had this week was having a challenge because they have a person who's doing a position that's a growth strategist, and that person is pulling the levers on Meta, and that person is also communicating with the client and is also doing the creative briefing and creative strategy. And that's really challenging, obviously, to do long term. There is a creative strategist that they're working with occasionally, but that obviously that can't work because so much of the lever now is on the creative. So I think the more that you can focus on and develop the creative systems and making sure that you're dialing those in, and iterating and testing, right, on everything from creative type to unlocking new avatars to persona development to looking at customer feedback and incorporating it in what you're doing with your ads. I mean, it's all this type of stuff. Like, how are you building that system, and what does that look like in your agency? I think is a huge one. That will, because that's going to solve a lot of other things. If you're able to go into client conversations and say, look, we can see that your net new reach is down because you haven't brought in new creative for a long time.
Yeah.
That's something that's really obviously going to make a big difference.
If you can walk in the door with a cracked creative system, that's going to go a long way. That's going to go a long way. In this
Absolutely.
Man, we really appreciate you making the time and coming on here, Andrew. But you cannot go. You cannot leave ever. No, I'm kidding. You cannot leave until you tell us why people love Foxwell Founders so much. Because I hear it raved about all the time, and I've heard it raved about for years. And just tell us about it. What is it? What happens there? I think there are some IRL gatherings. I think there are, but man, tell us why people love this thing so much.
Yeah. So Foxwell Founders was born 5 years ago at this June, and in the attic of my old house. And it was born because I really felt lonely in the work that I was doing. And I felt like there was an opportunity for me to connect a lot of the people that I was chatting to via text or a private Slack group on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And so that's where, that came about. So where it's manifested today, essentially what it is it's multiple content databases. It's 5 to 10 calls a week on different topics.
Wow.
It's, and then it's the Slack group, and then it's in-person meetings. And then there's other things like, we have an AI bot that surfaces content, and is refreshed daily from what's been happening. So that's a big, that's a kind of what that is now. So, it's 550 members, 30 countries. We spend $500 million a month just on Meta.
Crazy.
We spend collectively $1 billion a month on Google, Facebook. So we predominantly talk about Facebook, obviously Meta, Google. We talk about TikTok a little bit. We talk about CRO. Every member gets an audit every month on their accounts. So really what it is it lives differently for everyone. I would say for those, there's a segment of people that are in there every day. And there's, every week we have, out of the 550, every week there's 280 active roughly. So like there's some people that are in there all the time. Then there's a group of people that look at it once a week, look at the weekly recap, and they'll be like, oh, because they get a weekly recap of what's been going on, and they'll check through and read the threads and say, okay, that's cool. And then they'll message me back. Like, hey, that's cool. Check this out. I'm looking for this. I'm dealing with this. And then, there's a group of people that love it and use it for the in-person meetings. So we do these meetings quarterly around the world. Actually, 2 weeks from today is the start of our one in Lisbon. We have 75 members from Lisbon. I rented a palace.
Let's go.
Rented a palace. Yes.
Wow.
Which is turning out to be just it's anyway. It's insane. Planning events in Europe is insane. As an American, I mean, look, I love Europe. Shout out to Europe. All right. But like, as an American, I'm like, why are you not getting back to me? Like, what is happening?
So casual.
Like, I'm just like, are you at the beach? Like, I am working. All right. Like, I know we need to relax a little bit, but anyway. But no, so it's been so it lives differently for everybody. Everybody uses it a little bit differently. Some people just use it for coaching with me. You know, I have an outsourced community management. I'm in there, and I have a team that supports me. It works with me. We have a director of basically member success and education. And we have an operations director, but like I'm in there talking to people, and I wake up every day to like 30 DMs minimum, like of like, hey, what's this? Hey, can I talk about this? Can I talk about this? So it's really fun. And really what it is on a day-to-day basis is it's a place where you can safely ask anything you want to about what's going on. You know, it's a technical error. Have you seen this? I'm thinking about this way in terms of a rebuild. I've got this. Does it make sense? You know, I've got, you know, it's a whole bunch of different stuff like that. That is a place where people can come and get advice and connect, you know. And I mean, the crazy statistic is there's like some crazy, I mean, I have to look at the analytics. We just got a new analytics thing, but like a month ago, it was averaging that there was 400 DMs every week being sent between members.
Wow.
So there's like a ton of just like back channeling of like, oh, I'm in here because you're, you know, some of these legends like Rock or Phil Keel or, you know, people that I'm sure have been on the show. And so, you know, you're able to message them and say, hey, what do you think about this? Have you seen this? That kind of thing. And their answer, because that's sort of this idea is like, you're in it and you're also, you know, you give and you get. Yeah. As part of it. So that's really what it is. You know, if you're an online marketer and you're looking for a home that feels good, you can apply foxwellfounders.com. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. We have an 88.5 net promoter score. So my whole thing was when we were into it 1 year, I said, I'm not going to build this unless we build the absolute best. And so I've tried to like have the mentality. I went and studied like Bentley and Ritz-Carlton and, you know, all these sort of like luxury hotel groups, LVMH, and like what they do and what they did for customers. And we've tried to have that. Like we had a member who had something happen health related wise, and we sent a chef to his house to make him food. Wow. Like that's the kind of stuff that, and he's given a lot in the community, but like, that's the kind of stuff that we do as well, to just take care of folks. And we just started a program this year where every member gets to be entered into a drawing. I'll fly them to Santa Barbara from wherever they are in the world, and we hang out for a couple of days. So it's just fun. I mean, it's just like, it's fun to do. It's like it's a real, when these in-person meetups are funny, they're like a family reunion. Yeah. It seems you like know, it. Because everyone's like really into it. And and then we curate it hardcore. Like there's no pitching, there's no crappy drop shipping stuff. There's, you know, it's good. It's good because we take care of people and we genuinely care. And I think people know that. And because of that, we get into really crazy personal conversations too with people. People message me like, hey, I've got this issue with personnel, got this issue going on in my business. I'm really scared. I had a member message me a couple weeks ago, or it was a month ago, about, hey, you know, things are really rough. I don't know what I did. The profitability is way down. We lost a bunch of clients. Like, where do I go? And I was like, all right, so here's some options. Like, that's okay. Like, I've been at the bottom. Like, I mean, when we had our agency, when it was the height, like I fired our entire.
I lost him.
I was like so burnt out. Like, I knew that if I had to start over. So anyway.
Wow.
I let transparency is big.
I mean, that rings so many bells, and it sounds like you have developed the Rolls Royce, the Bentley of Ecomm communities, man. And I mean, that totally makes sense. Wow. So robust. I didn't know 5-10 calls per week. That's crazy, man. That's incredible.
Yeah. We yesterday had 3 calls just on Claude, and then Claude was down. I was like, all right,
that's awesome.
We'll go ahead and reschedule those little babies, and we're going to put those next week.
That's awesome.
But, you know, I mean, the best intentions. But, like, we have, like, it's crazy. Like, there's like a women in Ecomm channel. I'm not even in the channel. Like, I'm not allowed to be in it. and there's like they chat, they have their own calls. There's brand owners that have their own calls. We have a call tomorrow that's we have a verified agency channel that after a while you're in there, I get to look at your accounts and can say like, you know, you're legit, and I review things, and then you get added to this. And so we have a off the record call with them, non-recorded, where they're all talking about their internal creative systems at their agencies.
Incredible.
It's like little stuff too for like small spenders. You know, we have a small spenders call that happens. So it's fun. I mean, it's supposed to be it's supposed to resource people as much as they possibly need to be taken care of, to be able to do your job and feel less alone.
Love it. Wow. Value on value. Andrew,
That's
man,
huge.
we appreciate you coming on the show and all that you do for the space. I think everybody needs to go apply. You may not get in, but everybody needs to go to foxwellfounders.com and see if they can. And then we appreciate the content and all that you put out here. And we look forward to having you back, brother.
For sure. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I'll look forward to the next time.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
All right, guys. Take